dying in mass shootings and drive-bys. Everything is so much more worse for people who look like me since J.B. Pritzker, Lori Lightfoot, and Kim Foxx took over.
The gunfire, the murders, the mayhem in Chicago doesn't have to be the norm. It's time for a change, and that only happens when we fire J.B. Pritzker. It's that simple. J.B. Pritzker, where are you at?
This is Walter Gator Bradley. Y'all know I'm the host of the Bradley Report. I'm also the president of United Peace, Inc. One of the things that's very important, we the people can help get things right within our community. We ain't new to this game, and we know that the perpetrators that did the crime weren't a part of the individuals that's having softball games to be about peace. And for the record, keep everything straight. Yeah, I'm with J.B. Pritzker. Yeah, I'm with the mayor. But the most important thing, I'm with them because we constantly be about telling everybody to come together, unite in peace, and stop the violence. Brother Opadelli, tell the people the importance of what you're doing with the brothers from the sisters.
Oh yeah, so listen, for the last 5 weeks, and we've been working in these 7 most violent communities here on the south side between Douglas, Washington Park, and Grand Boulevard, right, to bring peace to the community. So, you know, we organize these safe peace softball games in the evening to pull guys off the hotspot corners. Right. And instead of them beefing with each other, they playing together, friendly competition. You know, we have a food truck out here, you know. It's trying to create a peace-safe, tranquil environment, and we've been doing it for 5 weeks.
Yeah,
and up until last night, we had no incidents, right? And though the incident didn't have directly anything to do with the softball games, is that, you know, when you have a lot of folks in the park and people might know somebody up there, and there's some different groups on both sides. But even for that, the young man was able, you know, God rest his soul, to come down here without an incident. It turned bad when somebody saw him. And they, you know, like most young people, and that's what we got to get control of, the mindset. I even got to catch myself, Gator. We beef on these Facebook, social medias, and say, I'm up here, I'm in your neighborhood, now what you go, you know, stuff like that. So it became an incendiary incident, man, and unfortunately, innocent people got hurt, right? So, you know, one young man, you know, was an intended target, but in the midst of that, a 43-year-old man lost his life and 7 other people are wounded. And that's the pain and irony of all of this, right? So you got a person that's dead that didn't have anything to do with it, was coming out, celebrating his birthday with his family, watching friendly competition, right? Being among groups. And so we got to go back to the basics, man, you know, where there was honor and code and respect.
You know,
right?
I agree with you. Know, the whole thing is this, and I want to say this publicly. I'll say it on my show. We got to kill the myth that the code don't exist.
Yeah, I agree.
Senseless shootings and killings is not to be tolerated. The rape and abuse of women and children, not to be tolerated. The abuse and the robbery of seniors, not to be tolerated. And those individuals that do that, we can't cover them.
Understood.
You know what I mean? And I'm saying that because we all knew that's how we did it, so we know how it go.
But this guy, Bailey, to come in this town,
well,
man.
I knew this here. Bailey out of order. He need to go on back down there. He grow popcorn and be like Baden Reckenbacher, whatever his name is.
Orville Redenbacher.
Yeah, Orville.
Yeah, but the guy comes here and moves down in the ivory tower downtown talking about what the community needs. And when it was time for him to stand up and vote for resources that he's talking about needed,
he voted
against them.
Right.
So, yeah, we can't, you know, listen, man, you know, we're not going to allow somebody to come in here and Willie Horton.
What's your opinion of Bailey coming here to pimp the pain, the violence, and the crime like he really cares?
Right. That's exactly what he did. He came here for a photo op. He came here to get in front of me, the ground, surrounded by community leaders, community people that's concerned, you know, to try to gain some recognition from the black community, to try to get the community votes. He did that because once he finished his speech, his long speech with the media, then when somebody called him out, and they started talking about the things that he voted against.
Right.
You know, so we couldn't have programs.
Right.
You know, then he had to leave. He rushed, you know, I'm gonna get with you, I'm gonna meet with you. Don't nobody buy that stuff.
Right.
Nobody concerned about Darren Bailey. We're not supporting him. He's not getting the black votes.
How you feel about, I'ma say it, the carpetbagger, Bailey coming in and prostituting the violence and the crime that's in this city, especially behind the violence that happened yesterday here in Washington Park.
You know, it's so disrespectful that you're using our loved ones who are deceased to try to gain momentum on what you're trying to gain, because our loved ones would never get up and gain anything in life anymore. And it's disrespectful because, as I stated, mothers are crying blood out of their eyes while you standing on blood trying to gain some momentum, and you're not helping. If you have that resource, then come here with the resource. If you want to make a difference, put that resource on the streets. Come on out here with us. Go door to door. Look these mothers and fathers in their eyes and tell them, hey, you really going to help them. Instead of using their children or using their homicides or to put on TV just to gain momentum. That's not doing anything. As I stated, come stay in the hood. In Inglewood, come stay on 87 Bailey, come stay in Auburn Gresham, the west side over there. Come stay in the hood. You staying downtown. You well protected. These tactics has been used before by politicians that want to stay in apartments somewhere, but guess what? Ain't nobody going up in that John Hancock building.
Sure ain't.
Ain't nobody coming up in there with no gun. You well protected. Come out here in the streets in Inglewood. Come out everywhere where these shootings are at, and help us out here. And live here, live in the hood. Stay
Right.
next door to us.
Hey.
Stay next door where children are crying and jumping because they hear bullets all night.
Right. But
It's
like-
gonna be quiet down there.
I know, but like I say, he voted against the programs that would be a part of the resources that help stop the violence and the crime. He voted against the legislation. So if you voted against the legislation that end up getting passed without your vote, how do you feel you got the right to criticize? You doing nothing when the mayor and the governor are doing something. And let them know the softball program that you've been having here.
I've
How
been
long?
out here for 44 years. We never had a violent occurrence, shooting, or nothing. That was not our event. We had nothing to do with that event. We out here on Friday nights and Sundays. You know what I'm saying? We be out here all day. We picnic, we party, we do our thing. You know what I mean? We never had. This is a no nonsense, no violence,
is.
none of that.
Sure is.
We don't have that around us. We do softball games on Sundays, all
Tournament?
day tournaments. Father's Day, no violence ever. We don't do that. You know what I'm saying? What occurred
Picnic
last
with the
night,
children.
we sorry for that, and our condolences to the people who was in that mess. You know what I'm saying? But that is not our. I mean, we don't do that. I've been out for 44 years, and it's a peaceful place where you can come and enjoy yourself. We eat, we drink, we socialize. Everybody. Pick night, and we never had no violence, man. What last night was a tragedy, and we tip our hat and we apologize for the situation. On Sundays, we got like maybe 28 to 25 teams, and on Friday nights, we was trying to get the program back. We got like about 6 teams on Friday night. But at the same time, Sundays is the biggest softball league in the world in Washington Park, and we never had no violence. We are not about violence. We're about saving lives. We get the young boys off the corner and let them come and play softball to enjoy their life. And a lot of them we took off the streets.
Right.
A lot of them
I
we took
know,
off the
man.
streets. And that's our job to do, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? We are no violent. This is a no violent zone up here.
Right.
And what occurred last night, it was something way out of our hand. And we couldn't, you know what I'm saying? We don't have nothing to do with that. It's not about our league, but it was a tragedy thing, and we hate that happened on our block, in our house, and we all feel bad about that.
One, Gator, as we did a press conference earlier, it was 4 of us standing together,
Right.
and I stated to the press, within these 4 people, you have over 150 years of service
Right.
that we dedicated to our community, that we love, and to our people. You know, we stood over dead body after dead body after dead body, you know, at the baby, at the son, at the daughter, at the father, you know, and we have never took a step back, took a break on supplying service to our community.
Never.
You know, because it's in our DNA. We won't change. But the difference between change and putting your, as they say, your money where your mouth is, you know, you can't come into our community, whether it's JB, whether it's the GOP, you know, or whoever and whatever. You can't come into the community during political season when 3 people got killed 4 days ago. Where were you then?
Right.
You know, where were you 6 days ago when 2 people got killed? Where was you a month ago when 12 people got killed? Somebody are dying, and it's sad to say somebody's getting shot and killed in our community every
day.
Other day. And we want a cease to that. We need resources, we need accountability, and we need everybody to come together to try to heal our land.
You know,
where the black people, where we live at.
Right. How can you and I be responsible for what happened last night? That was an individual mad another individual, and innocent people got shot and killed. So I'm just saying this about Bailey and those Trump-influenced candidates, whether they running for mayor, whether they running for governor. One thing I do know, Bailey voted against funds coming to resources here in Chicago. He don't care about Chicago. He don't care about Cook County. That's why he doing what he doing. So don't believe that lie like he care. He don't care. Check his voting record. And with that, I want to say, to God be the glory. That's our story. What do you feel?
Right.
How do you feel about Bailey coming in, prostituting, crime and violence, like he's really concerned when he don't have a solution?
Well, to be honest with you, Chicago has been infested with crime for a long time.
Right.
For decades, right?
Right.
So now that you're running for governor, you want to come and speak on it, but what about all the times when you wasn't running for governor?
Right.
Even though you're from downstate now, but the reality of it is that, you know, we all just have to work together. I don't have much to say about Bailey. I know they doing political, like, little stunts and everything. Everybody gonna try to weigh out, you know, pros and cons and use what they can to try to get where they're trying to go, right? But you cannot use and exploit the issues in the black community to try to benefit yourself. So I wouldn't really, like, go with that message. I think his handler should have told him that wasn't the best message
Hey
to
man,
go with.
first of all, you see where NBC
Yeah,
took its commercial off the air.
yeah.
So I'm asking the other station to take that commercial screen off the air.
Well, I'll be honest with you about that commercial myself. It should be taken off the air, but I'll tell you something, before it was placed on the air, I saw that video. I watched the video.
Right.
The way that woman was screaming after them guys that robbed her, and when they ran off, she was continuing to scream, right? And it really touched me a little bit. It did, because she needed some help. Wasn't nobody to help her, man. You know what I mean?
But the thing is this here, man.
Right.
We talking about your mindset, my mindset is way different than Bailey's mindset. He didn't care nothing about that woman, man.
They're using her story. Well, I agree with
Right,
you.
he didn't care nothing about a woman.
Yeah, using
that
that
woman.
story to try
He
to
prostitutes
elevate his
that.
career. No
He
doubt.
didn't care.
I'm gonna get
you know
that
what
to
I
you.
mean?
I'm gonna get that to you.
Right,
Yes,
he
indeed.
didn't care.
Because there was no need to put that all on a commercial.
Hey, man.
Because what could he do about it? What could he do about it?
Nothing.
That's what I'm talking about. What could he do, right? So therefore,
So
why
right,
use that
so
and
right.
exploit that
So
language?
my thing is this:
That's right,
don't come
I
in
get it.
there. If they was playing that, they could have said, "Hey, this shouldn't be tolerated nowhere." But what they put on there,
Yeah.
the governor and the mayor is responsible for this.
So there's nothing the governor or the mayor could have did about that.
Nobody.
Because nobody know they're about to jump out on
Right,
them.
that's what I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying.
And even if you knew they was jumping out, if you didn't know them or you didn't have no way to protect her, you might have lost your life. Even if the mayor was out there,
Hey,
she'd have
man,
lost her
couldn't
life.
do it.
Or the governor.
All then I'm saying,
Right.
Bailey, I saw that movie Get Out. And for all my black brothers and sisters that's with Bailey, get out.
How you doing? Andrew Holmes, crisis responder community activist, also standing with other activists out here. You know, as you see, you know, we got some real tough boots on the grounds in this city, grassroots people that are working. We don't criticize this city, we don't criticize the police department, but one thing we do, we look for justice. And those who are not working with us on the benches, to the attorney's office to help prosecute these individuals, then we got a problem within ourselves with them, and we know how to address that. And we address that when we address it at the polls. But for Bailey to come here and use this city as an scapegoat. This is not an scapegoat in this city. We got blood all on the sidewalks in this city. The community activists work these streets from men to women. Chicago police also work these streets and do the best they can to bring these charges to put forward. But I am not going to stand here, and I'm going to stand with others and let Mr. Bailey criticize. This is not a hellhole.
That's right.
This is not a hellhole, and I'll say that again. If it was a hellhole, then why did you rent a place downtown? If you want to rent a place and you want to help, then collaborate with the people that are here to work to bring this a better place. I'm quite sure you've been looking at the news, you've been reading this, and you've been looking at it. If you wanted to help, you should have been helping then, and you can still help now. Bring your resources here to put these people to work, some mental health facilities here, and help us combat this violence. Now, in saying that, you want to move here, you want to go downtown, guess what? There's security down there. There are police officers down there. You well secured down there. But come on in Inglewood and rent a place out in Inglewood. Come on the west side in Austin, rent a place out over in Austin. Come on 87 in Burley, rent a place out over there. West Inglewood. Come over here in the hood and rent the place. Go door to door.
Like we do.
Like we do. And
here you go.
Go door to door to find the killers on the street like we are doing with this 12-year-old girl. Don't use our African Americans and brown people as a pawn for your political gain. Go door to door, hand these out and find out who the mothers are, these killers and these shooters, like we do. So don't use us as African Americans to think that you're gonna get some brownie points and then you criticizing this city. Come stay in the heart of Inglewood. Come walk Inglewood. Come walk Auburn Gresham. Come walk the west side. Come on 87 in Burley. Come here where you hear gunshots all night and the kids are jumping up out of bed and can't even sleep. Downtown where you at, you ain't gonna hear nothing down there. You gonna sleep real comfortable. Then you talk about the homeless man that got killed down there, got set afire. Guess what? They solved that case. Guess what?
Sure
Where were
did.
you at before then? Come out here and get on the ground and sleep with these homeless people like we do. Sleep all night in the cold. Help get them off the ground. Tired of the criticizing and criticizing this city. This is a good city. Just come here and work with the officials that are here or work with the boots on the ground like us to see what we need. Talk to these people. Mothers are bleeding from the eyes. They're not crying, they're bleeding from the eyes. And these are plates that are missing from the table. You don't know anything about that because you haven't got that call at your door that you lost a loved one. 5 months old, 32, 12 years old. There are pictures of the individuals that are out here, baby killers. Come on out here and walk with us. Walk the block with us. Wake up in the morning in Austin. Wake up in the morning in Inglewood. Time out for all this finger pointing because they pointing guns and they killing our babies. I mean, you're pointing the fingers, state's attorney, the governor. That ain't what time it is out here. Bring your resources to enhance the quality of life, get some jobs for these people, help these mentally disturbed people so we can get them help and get them back on track and get the kids in school. All this finger pointing and fighting, they pointing guns and our babies are lying on the streets and you come here and you want to stand where the blood has been. That's wrong and it ain't right. You know, turn the other cheek. If you want to help, then come help. Other than this
Be a good
political
Christian,
stuff,
huh?
hey, help us come to the table. If you want to get with the mayor, state's attorneys, or whatever judges, or whoever you want to get with, or the governor, sit at the table. It's not about Democrats and Republicans because when that projectile hits that body, it's that body that's laying there, and that body don't say Democrat, don't say Republican. It's a mother and a father's child. So stop the nonsense with this political game. We're not here for that, we're not working with that, and we're not supporting that. We're human. We walk the streets for African Americans, Hispanic Americans,
That's right.
white Americans, whatever race, creed, and color you are. You're still human, but we're not going to use, and you're not going to use our children as political pawn and the blood that's on this street. And if we're crying out for help and you see that we're crying, then you come sit with us. Help us. If you're a politician or you've been down there, bring your resources. That's what's needed, not the finger pointing. You act like you got personal problems with this person, that person, the mayor, the governor, and whoever. That ain't gonna solve anything. Come to the table and leave your politicals to the side. Come together. We know the judges that we need to get in touch with and who we need on the bench and not on the bench, and also the prosecution office, who we need there and who we don't need there. We gotta help these families. Families first, children first, not the coffins, not the funeral homes, none of that. So change your agenda and stop using the commercial to gain votes, because this is not about a vote, because guess what? We got millions and thousands of votes that have been shot and killed by killers on the street across the United States. Gator?
My name is Wallace Gator Bradley. I'm the host of the Bradley Report. I'm also the president of an organization called United in Peace that's been in existence for over 30 years to help stop the violence. I'm in support of J.B. Pritzker. I'm in support of the mayor. But it's time out for Bailey or anybody else, any Trump-induced candidate, to speak like they concerned about ending violence, and then they silent about the insurrection of the violence that happened in Washington. And my thing is, after witnessing and hearing what I heard earlier this afternoon, and I know the individuals that was having the softball games for 5 weeks, and this area wasn't no violence. Bailey come here, don't have a plan, don't have a solution. The truth of crime and violence is that it's either domestic, but nobody can control violence and crime, because you don't really know when it's gonna happen. Crime is being done because a person see an opportunity to create or commit a crime. Violence is spontaneous. So Bailey, those that support you need to tell the truth and stop building the lie. Because if you was really concerned, you would have voted for the different legislation that was trying to stop violence. I'm glad the governor, hold this for me, man.
Yes, sir.
I want to say this. Darian Bailey, who's running for governor against J.B. Pritzker, is not pursuing real solutions. He's peddling the politics of tragedy and using exaggeration and scare tactics to Chicago, and talking about Chicago as a hellhole, and the idea invented by downstate politicians who are out of touch with the city of Chicago. If he wasn't running for governor, he wouldn't even be in Chicago, wouldn't be in Cook County. For example, an attack against Governor Pritzker and Mayor Lightfoot showing security camera footage with that commercial talking about Scream. And I'm glad that NBC made the decision to take that commercial off the air, okay? And I hope the other stations do that. It's time out, just like what Brother Holmes said. Violence everywhere. And so if the agenda, the real true agenda, is about stopping violence regardless of what party that they're running from or running for, they need to come together and say, stop the violence, let's do this. That's what we do. He working a program. He work a program. He work a program. I work a program. But at the end of the day, we can be arguing over who won what, but we come together for this. The press conference that you had earlier, where everyone came together, I was glad to see that. But I just want to say this right here. It's very important to the voters of Illinois. Don't get fooled by Bailey trying to give the impression like he cares. We can't afford to have a Republican governor. We can't afford to have a Republican state's attorney. And I pray that you vote for Jonathan Jackson to be the next congressman in the 1st district. And by all means, re-elect the mayor. Because out of all the people that's running, from what I see, none of them have on their resume that they got the experience of being a mayor.
Okay. Okay. Let me get my glasses here. Yeah, I'm a T.O. Hardiman, president of Violence Interrupters, a not-for-profit organization. And I'm standing here today because it's very important for us to get the message out that we must remain unified here in Chicago in order to continue to kind of reduce gun violence. Chicago has reached over 500 homicides so far this year, and my vision is to call a meeting with the governor and the mayor and not criticize, just call a meeting with the governor and the mayor and all the violence prevention agencies citywide so that we can have more boots on the ground, we can intercept whispers on the street so we can stop killings on the front end. That's what it's all about. You know, we must come together. We cannot knock one another because the reality is that babies are being killed out here on the streets of Chicago. This picture here, let me see this other picture here. Where's that one, the 5-year-old kid? Next to it. Let me get this. This young man is 5 years old. He was killed. And this young girl was 5 years. Yeah, she was killed in the South Shore community, sitting in the back seat of her mother's car. 5 years old, 5 months old, 5 months old. It's totally unacceptable. That's what I'm talking about. So instead of us going out here pointing fingers at who did what, and like Brother Wallace Gator Bradley just said, it's hard to stop a killing because you don't know when somebody's gonna kill somebody. Most of the killing is spontaneous. It's not like nobody telling you, look here, we're about to go shoot up the park. Nobody's gonna say that to you, so it's important to have boots on the ground so you can stop it on the front end. So once again, my message to all the young brothers in Chicago and young sisters, if you're thinking about shooting or hurting somebody because of a petty reason, reach out and call one of these organizations out here. I'm Violence Interrupters. It's not just about me, it's several organizations out here. Once you reach out and call, we mediate the conflict, therefore nobody goes to the cemetery and nobody goes to prison. That's what it's all about. Nobody goes to prison or the cemetery when we stop it on the front end. God has allowed me to mediate a lot of high-level conflicts in the city of Chicago. My staff have mediated around 40 conflicts so far this year where we stopped somebody from pulling the trigger and taking a life on the front end, not after the fact, on the front end. That's what's most important. It's not pretty work. It's hard to do, but it can be done. So I'm putting out a clarion call to all the violence prevention organizations citywide. Let's convene a session where we can strategize to get more boots on the ground and extend our coverage area and make sure we're out here doing the hours we need to be out here on the streets of Chicago. Thank you.
Andre Smith, as I stand here today representing the residents in Washington Park as the vice president, I count within these 4 men, I count over 150 years of service, of standing over body after body after body after body after body, trying to lift up the parent of the young man or the baby that been killed to gun violence in this city. I don't blame any politician because all of them have failed the black community, whether it's the Republican or the Democrats. We need all hands on deck that's healed this city. Right now, we're a minute away from the circus. How many of them people are not going to feel safe going there to sit back to enjoy themselves? What happened to this community the other day can never be repaired. People in their houses looking out their window, a fear that they could just walk down the street and be gunned down. Let's make this place safe. As I stated before, just within these 4 guys, 4 men, you have over 150 years of us standing out here. I'm 30 years in, and I'm sure Tito Hardiman and Gator Bradley are more. Andrew Holmes is 30 years in. We have took our lives and left our families to stand over body after body to try to change this city. Yes, we need resources, but we need more people like us.
All right. As we close and ending, I state what I said, I stand on what I said. You know, if you have the resource, which you have been listening to and looking at Chicago with our body falling, our kids falling, and you know what's needed here. And if you have that resource, then guess what? You want to stand at the front of the line, bring your resource here instead of bashing this city. Let's talk about enhancing and saving the life of other babies. These are missing plates at the table. They will never be fed by their parents again. Never. Never can ask their mothers or fathers, how was your day? No hugs no more. The only hug they got was that bullet. And what we need is just individuals to give up the individuals that shot and killed these babies. We have baby killers on the streets. So the name calling, that's not gonna work here. That's not gonna buy anything. You are insulting a mother who has lost a baby. She carried these babies 9 months, nourished these babies, and lost these children. But for you to come here and insult this city, you just insulted the women, because their pain is different than ours. We would never know the feeling of their pain, because 9 months, these babies was brought here. And it took a second for an individual, and possibly 9 times out of 10, yes, an African American, pulled that trigger and ran off like a coward. And we need those who know who the shooters are to give us the information.
Right.
You can call any one of these organizations. Let's get these individuals off the help and get them in custody. And our condolences go out to the parents and families of the loved ones that was lost here last night. That if you have video footage of anybody that was in this surrounding, give that information up. Don't criticize and point the finger at the police. Give them the information. And if the prosecution office is not helping us, then guess what? We'll change it there ourselves.
Right.
If the judges is not helping there, we'll change it ourselves. But we are going to stand up here as men and let you know we disapprove your negligence coming into this city, calling it a hellhole. It's not a hellhole. We live here, we work here, and these kids lost their life 9 times out of 10 here, and it's disrespectful for them. So in saying that, call the mayor, call the governor, call whoever you want to, get around the table and let them know what resources you have. Come together. If we can come together from different sides of this city, work together on different sides of this city, it doesn't make any difference, so can you. You come from the outside the city, you're welcome here, but you're not welcome here with your tongue the way you're talking about this city. Thank you.